Mine is the Sunday suppers, where we would feed the elderly or the poor. It's incredible to see the look on people's faces as they come in. My wife describes it as she sees Christ's presence in their face. I'm just a dishwasher that works a couple times a month, so I'm not up front. I'm not one of these people that are, out there organizing and cooking and doing all of those incredible things. But those people are so dedicated, and when you come here on that twice a month, time period, it's incredible. It makes your heart full with joy as watching these parishioners here feed the poor, feed the hungry, and the incredible gratitude of those guests.
And when he got there, he went up to the man's room and knocked on the door. It was shut, and his wife came out. The man's wife came out and said, "We've been waiting for you," and which kind of stunned him because he wasn't expecting that kind of response. And she said her husband has been waiting to see you, and again he was kind of shocked at that. And so he went in, and the man was apparently in hospice at this point, so he was not conscious. His eyes were closed. He wasn't speaking, and Stanley went about his routine that he did. He said his prayers over him, put his hand on his shoulder, and prayed for the man. And I think Stanley continued to say his prayers, and then within a minute the machine alarm started going off. 4 nurses rushed into the room, and the man died. Right then and there, he died. So this is a story of 3 people's faith. First and foremost, it was the man who had been waiting to receive Christ and held off death until he did one last time. And when he did, he was able to surrender his body and let go. And that's exactly what he did. And the other, of course, is Stanley, who had no idea what was going to happen that day. And so Stanley, had this transformational feeling like he was meant to go this day. And then the third person's faith was this Baptist woman who was also very, although not part of her, faith as a Baptist person, was also very aware of the presence of Christ in that communion for her husband.
And I thought at that point that it was the worst. Nothing was ever going to get any better. And I thought that I was going to be angry at God and doubt God, but in fact, I was surprised to find that it was quite the opposite. I became even stronger with God, and over the last few years of him being gone, I have found that my strength in God and my trust in God has only grown more so than I could ever imagine. And I feel that at this point, if it weren't for the love of my life and I getting together like we did, and the occurrences that had happened, I don't think that I would still be the confident, outgoing person I am. I find myself every day asking God to give me the strength and courage to continue to be the person I'm meant to be that Brian has showed me. And it makes me happy every day just to know that not only is God there to strengthen me, but I now have my very own soldier, my St. Michael's army, watching over me and all my loved ones and helping God's children when they need it, you know. And it's remembering stuff like that that I find continues to... I grew up a very religious person to begin with. I never thought anybody like me could become any more religious. But I have found that in God's surprising ways that I can still, there is still more that I can do.
Just recently, when we lost a pastor, a member here 5 years ago, Pat Nugent. You know, I was here for another service. Bill Peters, actually. And I hadn't talked about Pat. We were close. We were in contact every day of our lives for 30 years almost. Played golf. He just brought me back to this parish from another one. Said, no, you got to come here. So we came back here. And they draped Bill Peters' casket with the pall. And right in the middle, on the top row, right in front of me, unobstructed, was Pat's name. And I'm standing next to his wife, his widow. The hand just grabbed me. And at the same time, we both went, and it was just like, oh, there's a reason I'm here. I'm here for a reason. It was to bring that memory back. It's still alive in here, you know.
Mind, as we have been coming here, the nature of getting involved with planting trees, and the nature, and then bringing a tree down, and it was like, oh, that's what I most experience here is the community. No one has all the right answers. God's not asking that of us. And we join together in the community and we celebrate that reflected light to whatever level we comprehend it and understand it. I'm very grateful to be here.
Well, I've been here at this church since it opened. Work with the music ministry, have been for probably 30, 35 years here. So I'm really excited about just how it has evolved over time and what it means to support our faith community.
Wow.
And also how this faith community has also encouraged me and supported me and has been a blessing to so many people. And I find that is, as I translate it, is what's my glory. How I can then start giving back to be able to hopefully encourage and uplift others with what I do with our ministry and music, and hopefully would inspire others to feel empowered and encouraged as well to be able to give up their talents and their gifts to support this wonderful ministry.
Often as I can, I sing at funerals. And this is very inspiring to me to hear the stories of those people. Some of them have been so afflicted with problems, Alzheimer's and different things. But the greatest thing is realizing what some of them have accomplished in their lives. And one story was one story that is about the gentleman, I don't recall his name right now, but in World War II, he was going with his typewriter, not a gun, he didn't have a gun, into battle. And you think, my goodness, you know, you look back at your own father who was in the Battle of the Bulge, my father was. And so I hear these stories, and of the lady that was disabled, but she got up every morning and went to work. She had one of the largest funerals here, and she dressed herself and got to that bus and got to work and was an inspiration to other people. And so I am really inspired during all these stories, and it's been a blessing for my life.
Tommy's oldest brother had a little girl, born on his birthday in June, and she passed away that following November. She was not baptized, she wasn't Christian. So there was a big, kind of an upset in the family. And it was upsetting enough as it was because she was just this little tiny thing. She died of SIDS. And to comfort the mom and dad, who are both Catholics, they just didn't do it. They just didn't baptize her. And I remember that 10-day rule and not going outside and all of that. And I'm not even a cradle Catholic. I joined the church in 1989. But anyway, he was such a comfort to the parents because he said that little Megan had not committed a mortal sin. So she was basically God's right hand man. And that was such a comfort. And I was just listening to this wonderful man who really, he was a deacon in the church, and his mother, Tommy's mother, would joke around saying, if I die first, he'll be a priest. And we believe that. We believe that. He was such a spiritual, kind, giving man. And the way he comforted not only the parents, but everyone else in the room, we were just sitting there mesmerized by him. It was beautiful.
I enjoyed the donuts and our little conversations after church. We don't get to see parishioners as often as we like. So usually those times we sit and chat after Mass, catch up on each other, see, talk to the kids that are with the families. During this pandemic, I have been able to contact some people through social media and, just reach out and see how everybody's doing. And I just miss our little time after service to connect with other parish members. And you realize how connected everyone is. And just little everyday things, birthdays, just little things like that. Because we encourage each other. Through family members have lost members, or they're ill, or some other aspect of life that you get to listen, console, encourage.
So when we moved here, I know a lot of people that I know them before, and they come here, and like joining, like not only the Sunday supper, also we still do the like raising the flowers, and just that's what of my God gave me the talent that, so I have to share. So and I like to help, and I like to share what God gave me, and like I said, the people here, it's like we don't think where you from, where you what dream.
Sunday supper, and we have this guy, these two guys helping out, Sean and Terry, I think. But anyway, I think Sean experienced a death in the family. And so it's like, somehow I was approached. Not sure, somebody told me, or he came to me And so, man, we gotta help this guy. I'm sure. I mean, when you have a death in the family, and so it's like, man, what shall we do? I guess there was a card that was going around, sympathy. But of course, I thought, maybe I should start a collection. And me, I wear my hat, And so I just ran around randomly to people. Hey, Sean over there, he helps out. And somebody died in his family, and I'm just trying to get a collection. And people, were generous. Anyway, so we had a good collection. Money was passed on to him. We did something.
In 2011, I had cancer, and one of the women from the group, Eileen Allen, would come to chemo with me every week so that my husband could work. And she would drive me home to northern Suffolk from Riverside Hospital in heavy traffic in the afternoon and drive back over the Barnum Merrimack Bridge Tunnel with all the traffic. And it was wonderful that she did this. And I have a child with special needs who had to be met at the bus, so we could not just leave her alone. And I wondered that the women's group also brought us meals without even asking me. They just did that, and they would do that for many things. So I just want to say that the women's group was wonderful. They were very welcoming when I moved to the area, and they continued to show their love.
A few years ago, I volunteered to help with the Sunday suppers. It's an opportunity where we provide a healthy meal for anybody in the community that might need that. And one of the things that I was really impressed with was the fact that I was volunteering as a dishwasher. A lot of times when we do these kind of events, we use disposable products. We kind of throw away things and make it easy on us. And the fact that we had committed to using reusable napkins and plates and cups that could be rewashed and reused really impressed me, because it says that we're really committed to the whole of Catholic social teaching. Pope Francis, in his encyclical Laudato Si, talks about how we a lot of times live in a disposable culture. We kind of throw away cups, we throw away plates, and after a while we end up throwing away people. And so one of the things that I love about Immaculate Conception is we really see how all of these are interconnected, and that how everything that we do in our lives really helps to build the kingdom of God.
I really love coming because I feel it's such a welcoming place, and I look out when I'm here at all the diversity and the inclusion, with the musicians, the lectors, all the faces in the pews, and it just warms my heart to really feel like we're part of this universal church, that the face of God takes on so many different ethnicities, and it's just so diverse. And I really love that, because it does make me feel like the face of God is all around me, and it's a place where people feel welcomed and respected and loved.
This is the most welcoming parish. And I say that because I made friends with a couple who was stationed here at Nassau for maybe 7 months. And they left and was re-signed down in Texas. And she's Italian born, raised Catholic. Met her husband, of course, during the war, and they had dual citizenship, United States and Italy. And she said they have been all over the world. No one ever invited them or introduced themselves to them. And to this day, we don't get in touch often, but we catch up, email every now and then. And that was way back when Father Bob was here. So that's how long that friendship's been.
I think my heart really started burning when my aunt died. And like you said in your story, I started coming to Mass, and I was very impressed with the Mass and the people, how welcoming and how friendly they were. So I thought, this is where I probably need to be, and I can be. And then after I was diagnosed with my first cancer, I really felt like this is where I needed to be. The people were very welcoming, friendly, caring, and not overpowering, but they really, truly showed me that they cared. And I wanted to be a part of the church and do for others. I feel that that's important, that you show others that you care, especially for people who are less fortunate than you. There are many ways that you can give, and it doesn't necessarily have to be money. Sometimes it's just listening to what people have to say and being friendly towards them. And I wanted to be a part of that because of the people that I saw coming in to Sunday supper. I thought that this was a way for me to connect with other people also. It's your time. It's listening. I find that people like talking to me, and I listen. And sometimes a comment is not necessary. Just your presence is all that's needed.
I was finishing my last year of school at UVA, and when the pandemic hit, it made more sense for me to stay up at school, and the rest of my family came back home and was living in Newport News and going to ICC virtually. And at that time, I made the decision to start watching the virtual ICC masses at the same time as my family, and then whether it was talking later that evening over a virtual dinner or sometime later in the week, it was a really special experience for me to just, in the midst of everything else going on, have that bit of connection where we could both talk about what the readings were, some joke that Father made during the homily. So that was my beginning experience with ICC. I know we always say that religion is supposed to be more than just the Mass, but in that time, having just the Mass that we could look at and discuss was really, really vital. And so I'm very thankful for that.
When I first came to Immaculate Conception, there was a Care for Creation group, and so I signed up and I began to go, and we all studied together of what we should be doing with caring for the earth as well as people around us and the less fortunate. And I was really struck. And then from there, by meeting new people, I learned about Sunday supper, and I got to meet more people and the community that we were serving each Sunday, and interacting with them. And we were able also to bring in what we learned in caring for creation, and we got dishwashing established, and we started doing the dishes. And of course, that was saving on the paper plates and everything else. From there, Father John came on board and really took Care for Creation to another limit by having the solar panels. The other thing for Care for Creation is the TIS program we have here, and planting the trees in Africa. Not only helps the people in Africa, but it's cleaning the air and taking, all the junk in the air out. Another thing that I really like is blessing for water. And I one day would love to go to the Navajo reservations and see it implemented, the blessing for water with the filters with the bucket and everything. I'm really happy to be here and connect, and we are called to take care of the earth that was given to us, and take care of less fortunate people. During COVID, I was able to connect with and meet new people by coming out here on weekends and giving food to the poor, and they would drive by, and it was a great, I felt really good about it. So Immaculate Conception for me is, I think, you see God in everyone and a lot of these activities.
And when my children were younger, I was a catechist. And at that time, Ann Rugeberg was in charge of catechist. And she was a wonderful teacher and a very spiritual person. And she would have workshops for us all the time because she believed in nourishing us so we could nourish the children. And she did a workshop one time on baptism. And I thought, wow, I know a lot about baptism. What is she going to focus on? And she focused on the part of us being anointed priest, prophet, and king. And she put it so beautifully, I had never thought of that before. And I didn't realize what an impact that would have on my life until January 31st, the year 2000. I was in the Outer Banks with my father, my mother, my husband, and my mom's friend. And my mother started having chest pains, and we called the ambulance. And they took her to the medical center because there was no hospital. And at the medical center, after about an hour, they said she was seriously ill, and they had to get a helicopter to take her to Norfolk. And I said, I need a priest. I need a priest or a minister. And this was January, the year 2000, 11 o'clock at night. There was no priest, there was no minister, nobody. And I was so distraught. And then what Anne had said all those years earlier about being anointed priest, prophet, and king, I thought I could be priest to my mother. And her words just resounded. So about a half hour later, they called, they came and told us she had passed away. And my father, my husband, Reggie, and I went back there. And we were priests to my mother. We blessed her and we prayed over her the way a priest would have. And every time I hear the words in baptism that you're an anointed priest, prophet, and king, I think what an awesome responsibility we're given to a baby, but yet we're giving it to each other. And so many times through the years, people have been priests to me at Immaculate, and for that.
I've been away from church for many years and had convinced myself that I didn't need a church or a church community to experience God, but I was wrong. Before you know it, I was attending Mass regularly, but something was still missing. I was not a Catholic, and I couldn't partake in the Eucharist with the church. And that's when my heart began to burn. You see, seeing my brothers and sisters walk towards the altar and partake in the Eucharist is where my heart began to burn, and I wanted to experience that feeling again. The problem was I wasn't Catholic, so when the opportunity came for RCIA, I signed up for it, and I felt good about it. It was just something that I needed. For a long time, I heard God calling me, but I kept ignoring him. But just as confirmation was approaching, the pandemic, happened. So at the time, I didn't know exactly, when I would be confirmed or, what the rest of my journey looked like. But I kept the faith, and eventually I was confirmed. And after that, another opportunity opened up for me to be part of the live stream ministry. And I've been doing that ever since. And I felt like it was the right thing to do. And it gave me a sense of purpose and community with the church. And I find joy in providing, live stream services along with the team to the rest of the community who can't attend right now. However, the church is opening back up. And I would love to see all of my brothers and sisters joining me in that walk towards the altar. So if you can attend church, I ask that you do, and I look forward to seeing you. This is my story.